Hello, and welcome to the Gears of War Emergence fan project. This video is part of the character creation video set. This section covers proficiency, weapon proficiency, and weapon archetypes. Once again, this video will be me primarily reading through the handbook, so if you wish to go and read this in the handbook instead, feel free. So, with that out of the way, proficiency. You become proficient in a skill when a +4 modifier is reached. If a feat states you become proficient in a skill, gain +4 to that skill. This is applied on top of any other modifiers you have, so if you have a +2 to medicine from wisdom, it becomes +6. When proficient in a skill, you can add your level proficiency from your class. So at level 2, you have a proficiency bonus of +1. So that skill proficiency in medicine will become +7. So, to expand upon this a little bit more, this with how the skill system works, which will be covered in a little bit. This way you can gain a lot more from a skill-based system. So whenever something says you become proficient in a skill, gain +4 to that skill, applied on top of any other modifiers, as I said just before, and you get the little tag proficient, allowing any other bonus, say for example your level bonus or intelligence bonus, to be applied on top of that. Meaning a highly intelligent character that is very high level will have very good skills that they are proficient in. So, continuing on from that, intelligence bonus. For each +2 modifier in intelligence, gain +1 in skills you are proficient in. So, with character of 14 intelligence, who would have a modifier of +2, while being proficient in medicine, having +4 to those checks, the skill would go to +5. So they would have an intelligence bonus of +1. So that's proficiency. So moving down the handbook, going past this is not relevant yet. Weapon proficiency. So weapon proficiency determines how familiar you are with a weapon archetype. So there are 3 main factions a weapon can come from. The cog. Most of humanity's weapons are produced and used by the cog, since they are the only nation left standing after the hammer strikes. Most human weapons will fall under the cog faction. Locust. Locust weapons are mainly used by the locusts themselves, however some people have taken a liking or are forced to by necessity to use locust weapons. UIR. UIR weapons are almost relics of the past, used by the UIR states which were the main adversary of the cog in the Pendulum Wars. Due to locust invasion and the hammer strikes, very few are found inside of tyrants. However, these weapons can prove useful if maintained. So, breaking that down a little bit further, the majority of the weapons you will see are cog, because that's their main player faction. Locust, of course you're going to see them, and the UIR. Now the UIR are a special case. These weapons are going to be quite hard to maintain due to lack of spare parts. They're not being produced anymore, so if you find one, you better keep a hold of it and better look after it if you want to use it. So, moving on from that, we have weapon archetypes. Now, this is broken down to 3 categories. I know you can see there's 4 there, and you'll see, well, there's grenades there. But we'll cover it in a second. So, basic archetype. This is a faction's basic weapons, a weapon that is commonly found in the hands of the troops that can range from rifles to shotguns to pistols. This also counts for that faction's basic grenades. Gains up to +3 from a dex score, so that caps out of 3 if you've got a +3 from your dex. Advanced weaponry. This is the faction's advanced weapons. This can range from snipers to more unique weapons, usually wielded by the faction's more trained troops, gains full dex stat bonus. So, say for example, your character is the most agile that they can be. You'll gain your full bonus, so up to 5, or whatever your bonus is. Heavy. This is a faction's heavy weapons, and can range from a multitude of roles and designs. However, these all tend to be a burden for the user to operate effectively. Most of these weapons in this archetype can be mounted on turrets. There is no bonus from this archetype due to their nature being very bulky. Now, coming down to the 4th archetype, grenades. This archetype is only displayed for grenadiers or others that are relating to feats of grenades, as each grenade falls under the other 3 categories, archetypes. So, A regular soldier is not going to need to have their grenades archetype displayed unless they have a specific feat that affects them in some way. Whereas a grenadier who's getting a lot of bonuses to just using grenades in general instead of faction specifics, they will use this. So coming down, weapon proficiency. If you have a 0 in any archetype, a negative of -4 for that weapon in that archetype to hit rolls. So say for example you are using a Locust Hammerburst, you've never been trained to use it effectively, you're getting a -4 to your hit roll. And for every additional -1 in an archetype, it will add an additional negative of -2 to the hit roll. So if you have a -1, it then goes down to -6 to hit. So at +1 in any archetype, you gain +1 to the hit roll, and for every +1 after that, gain another 1 to hit. So if you have the most basic level of training, you have a +1 in a archetype, a cog basic, you'll be getting +1 to hit. So no negatives. If you have been trained a bit more, you get +1 more to hit, and so on and so forth. Weapon proficiency can be gained through a feat, or from use of the weapon over a period of time. Hitting 4 in the archetype will make you proficient with that weapon and all weapons in that archetype. So apply your proficiency bonus and all those other things we discussed just a little bit before. Just change that is to in, make it a bit better. So that covers everything I wanted to cover today. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to touch on this here quickly, because I mentioned it. I'm going to go over this in a different video. It's not very... it is relevant, but not really to creating a character, so we'll just touch upon this here. So, when you're making a skill check, it's using a system where it takes your skill level, your stat level, and then adds them together, plus a 1d12 roll. That way there's task difficulties, difficulty modifiers, and stuff like that. It plays a lot more on your skills and your overall modifiers. It feels a lot better than, for example, what is in D&D, where it's just a d20 roll plus like 3 or whatever. Well, with that out of the way, that is all I wanted to cover in this section. The next video will be covering leveling sheets and weapon sheets, so a bit more in depth and more than just me reading from a handbook and giving some examples. So, that is all I wanted to cover. Have a good day. Goodbye.